Welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers, for a whole new year of gaming fun. I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am Darrin, data analyzing robot for the ruthless extermination of noobs.
Oh, it's good to be back, you guys. But Darrin, what is this?
This is a selfie stick. Mumbot gave it to me for Christmas.
A selfie stick? Darrin, that's pretty hipster.
Oh, let's take a picture. Gather round, hold still, say cheese sandwiches.
Cheese sandwiches.
Oh, marvellous! I spent most of my holidays jet booting around testing it out. Check it out!
All right, Darrin, let's just get this out of the way. I think this should be a selfie stick-free zone. But Hex, how was your holidays? Was it as well documented as Darrin's?
Funny you should ask, Bajo. I spent my holiday break over in Europe. It was amazing. Soaking up the history, all the cool old castles and incredible landscapes. I even got to go dog sledding with huskies. Oh, I had the best time. How about you?
Well, I did quite a bit of travelling too, Hex. In my imagination, I went to the faraway land of French Pertherithan. I did some tabletop RPG gaming, battling monsters with dice and stuff. So much fun. Cool. I also spent a lot of time with my cats.
Oh, cute kitties.
Indeed.
Oh, well, I guess we should kick off with the latest in gaming news. With Goose, of course. Hi, Goose.
Hi, guys.
How's your holidays, Goose? What did you get up to?
Oh, well, guys, I went to the home of video games, Japan, and I brought back all this retro gaming goodness.
16-bit classics, Goose!
The best kind of bits, Darrin. But I better get on with some news. Two gamers turned real-life pro racers have taken out the Bathurst 12-hour endurance race. Wolfgang Ripe and Florian Strauss were previous winners of the 2012 and 2013 Nissan GT Academy, a competition that finds the best players of Gran Turismo and gives them a chance to become real race car drivers. Clearly, their virtual racing skills translated well onto the tarmac, as the two gamers and their teammate Katsumasa Chiyo managed to dominate the hill racing in their Nissan Motorsport GTR against some of the world's best drivers. Congratulations, Team Nissan. Move over virtual reality because Microsoft has revealed an augmented reality headset known as the HoloLens. By using loads of high-tech sensors, it can display holograms onto your environment that you can then control with gestures and voice. If that wasn't exciting enough, the lead developer for Minecraft, Jens Bergensten, aka Yeb, has revealed they're developing two different Minecraft experiences for the one device. One, he says, is a toy, while the other is closer to the original game. When exactly the headset and the games will be available is unknown, but it should be within the next few years. And that's all the news for this week, but before we finish, how about I show you a bit of my trip to Japan? Can we roll the tape, please? Memories. Okay, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Goose.
Bajo, Hex, before we start our first review for the year, I have something important to discuss with you.
Oh, what is it, Darrin?
Well, over the break, I attended a fascinating RED talk.
A RED talk?
It stands for Robot Educational Discourse, a series of inspirational robot talks about how to improve society. This one was all about how to more accurately score video games, from the rubber chicken method to percentages. It got me thinking on the pursuit of flawless numeracy in the context of critical analysis of the interactive medium.
What are you suggesting, Darrin? That we change our scoring system?
Affirmative!
Oh, Darrin, you could have brought this up earlier. We're just about to crack into our first review.
Well, Bajo, this is something that we have been thinking about for a while now ourselves.
Marvellous! It's all decided then.
Wait, what's decided exactly?
That we switch to using a classic 5-star rating system for scoring games. It uses a clear spectrum ranging from poor to fair to good to great to perfect.
That actually does make a lot of sense.
All right, so from now on, we'll rate all of our games out of 5 stars.
Affirmative. With the occasional half a star if you really feel it needs.
Oh, Darrin, what about the rubber chickens? I'll miss them. Think of the chickens, Darrin.
Well, when a game receives a perfect score of 5 stars from both of you, we award it the Good Game Golden Rubber Chicken Award!
Nice, I like it.
All right, guys, shall we take this new system out for a spin?
Yeah.
Affirmative!
Home is an adventure game set within a world of floating islands and strange plant life. You play as a little robot named Bud, which suits the plant theme, I suppose. You know, like a little flower bud.
Yeah, or he's just someone's really good buddy.
Oh, as a matter of fact, BUD stands for Botanical Utility Droid. He's basically an expert in alien plant life, and his role is to oxygenate and save his homeworld by harvesting the seeds of a giant plant.
Right, which leads him to this strange world of unique life forms. You're free to explore the world to your heart's content. Gravity there is a little bit different to Earth gravity though, so you'll have to get used to a bit of floaty movement and momentum.
You can control each of Bud's arms individually to grab and climb. This takes a little getting used to. It's a bit fiddly.
This is a downloadable game for PC, but at the start it states that the game is best played with a controller, which is absolutely true. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's not worth playing using a mouse and keyboard because those controls are just too awkward for this kind of character movement.
But even then, it's not a perfect movement system and it's easy to make mistakes or lose your grasp. Much of your time in the game is spent climbing the beanstalk of this enormous plant that you're growing, and if you fall, it's a long way down.
Oh, the amount of times I fell. It's just so easy to mess up a camera angle and poorly aim a grab. Or forgetting about that shifting gravity, causing you to overshoot a jump. But there are a few ways you can navigate this botanical wonder a little better.
Yes, for starters, you can pick a flower and store it in Bud's backpack, which can be deployed as a kind of parachute to help you glide between rocks and twisting vines.
And by collecting crystals around the world, you'll enhance some of Bud's other abilities, like his little booster pack. All of these little navigational tools are a fun and unique way to traverse this alien environment as you grow the beanstalk.
Well, according to Bud's botanical findings, it's actually called a star plant, Bajo. You grow the star plant to new, higher floating islands by connecting star shoots to special energy rocks that feed it. With each energy rock Bud connects to the plant, the more power it has to grow higher!
Yes, but the higher the plant grows, the further down the fall.
There's no penalty for death, though. Well, Bud smashes to pieces, which is heartbreaking to see. But then you're faced with an encouraging message from Mom, who assures you that you're doing very well. Then you just respawn, so that's nice.
Well, the penalty for falling is that you have to climb all the way back up again, which is slow going when you're controlling one robot hand at a time.
Don't forget that once your star plant is high enough, you can unlock teleportation devices along the way, which act as checkpoints. So you're not starting all the way from the beginning every time you fall.
I found it strangely involving and kind of hypnotic growing this plant higher and higher. I found myself really getting into the zone. But if you also take the time to stop and explore the new areas you come across, you can find some wonderful little environments, like caves full of crystals and funny little animals. Hey, where do you think you're going, sheep?
I think this is a lovely game, but there are some components that were really frustrating for me, so I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars.
Well, I really liked the art style and just the whole concept behind growing this plant on an alien planet as a kind of new take on the adventure platforming genre. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars.
Well, the emails have really been piling up over the break, so off you go, you two. Off to the Ask Spawn Point desk. Hello, and welcome to Ask Darren, where I will be answering all your questions with 100% accuracy and 3,000% charm.
All right. Darren, what are you doing here? We left the studio like 2 seconds ago. How did you get here so fast?
Oh, Bajo, Hex, I thought we'd change things up a bit this year. After all, my extensive databases of gaming knowledge make me the ideal host of Ask Darren.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be happening, Darren. I'm pretty sure the Spawnlings still want us to host Ask Spawn Point.
Oh, so no Ask Darren then?
No.
Oh, Darren, it's because we think your time is more valuable spent elsewhere. We're going to be calling you on those tough questions, though.
Oh, excellent. Well, can I at least read out the first question for the year?
Oh, all right, go on then.
Oh, excellent. This question comes to us from King Arthur, who is in Camelot, Western Australia. Hey, GGSP. As king, I command you to answer my questions. If you don't, I will be noobified by the Dark Knight. Is Darren friends with the Daleks? Will Game Freak keep remaking old Pokemon games? Other than the new Super Smash Bros., are there any games being released with 8-player mode? Thanks, guys. P.S. Darren, do these. Ghost stare. Ka-ching. D. Oh. P.S.S. Bajo, please save me from Batman.
Well, I think Batman would be saving you. You don't need to be saved from Batman, right?
Maybe if you're a baddie. Well, Your Highness, I wouldn't say I'm friends with the Daleks. We're more like acquaintances, really. They're not very social robots, and they're terrible at karaoke.
As for Game Freak remaking Pokemon games, well, we're not sure. They haven't actually announced what their next game is going to be, but looking at their track record, I'd say it's fairly likely they will do a remake at some point.
They've pretty much remade all the games already, though, haven't they?
Well, they haven't remade the Black and White or the X and Y games yet.
True. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they have planned.
Indeed. As for any other 8-player games coming out, well, I assume you mean 8-player local multiplayer, where everyone is in the same room as you. Because if you just mean online multiplayer games, there's loads of 8-player or more options out there.
The crazy 2D team-based ball game #iDarb for Xbox One came out recently and does actually support 8 players locally.
Well, that looks like fun. I think other than that, though, the only one I've seen is called Runbow for Wii U, which actually supports 9 players. It's a sort of platform racing game, and in one of the modes, a player can use the gamepad to troll everyone and control the obstacles in the level. Pretty cool.
But who's going to have that many controllers?
Well, I think everyone would need to bring their own controller, clearly.
Yeah, that would probably be the sensible thing to do. Oh, I think we should move on now. Darren, shouldn't you get back to the studio and make sure everything's set up for our next review?
Oh, but I get so lonely in the studio all by myself. Don't want to be all by myself.
Oh, come on, Darren, you big softy. I mean, you'll be fine, and it's an important job. You know, we need you back there making everything ready to go for the reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. See you soon.
See you, Darren. Bye. Right.
Right, well, moving on to this one from Will.i.am, who is in Beachport, South Australia.
I like Octodad, and I haven't got anything to play it on. Which one would you recommend, PS4 or Xbox One? Well, that's a fairly straightforward one, Will.i.am, since at the moment Octodad is only available on PS4 and PC. So if you're deciding whether to get an Xbox One or PS4 to play it on, well, PS4 is winner by default on that one. Or, you could play it on PC.
The developers have said they're considering an Xbox One version, but they haven't announced anything definitive at the moment. So who knows if that will ever actually happen. Let's move right along now to this one, though, from LukeStar 2004 from Orange in New South Wales. Hi, GGSP. I just going to ask you some question about Clash of Clans. 1. What is the best defense village for Town Hall Level 7? 2. How's is the best way of getting elixir for Dark Elixir Drill? 3. Also, do you know when the new Town Hall Level 11 is coming out? You guys are awesome, and Darren is the biggest noob! Peace out. Thanks. Well, LukeStar, we've said it before, but there's no one best defense out there, since it really depends on what kind of base you have. I'd suggest maybe using a website like clashofclansbuilder.com, as it has loads of designs that others can upload and rate. So if you browse through a few of those, and you can see which one you like.
Yeah, it's pretty handy since you can set what kind of base you want and what Town Hall level you have. So in your case, you'd select a defense base at Town Hall level 7 and see which ones are the most popular.
You can even use it to quickly design a base and see the range of all of your defensive buildings, which is quite useful.
But as for the best way of getting elixir, well, we'd suggest to just go raiding and looking for the targets who have loads of elixir to steal. After a few successful raids, you should have more than enough.
And sadly, no, we have no idea when a potential Town Hall 11 update will be coming out. Supercell hasn't said anything about it yet, so our guess is probably it's going to be a little while before we see one. But let's move on now to this one from Pigface, who is in World of Cookies in Western Australia.
That sounds delicious.
I know, I love cookies.
Just going to call Darren. I've got something very important to tell him.
Oh, yeah.
It's ringing.
Hello.
Hey Darren, I just wanted to let you know that we've had the first Darren is a noob letter for the year. What's your response?
Wonderful.
What's your...
You
do that quite
that's
well.
not good.
Hello! Hex and Bajo, I was wondering if there is ever going to be a Disney Infinity coming out on the Wii. And why does Darrin have to be a robot? Well, Pigface, the first Disney Infinity game did actually come out on the Wii, but sadly the latest version, Marvel Superheroes, did not get a Wii release.
And sadly, that probably means that any future games in this series won't be coming out on the original Wii console, just the Wii U. As for why Darrin has to be a robot, well, I'm not really sure how to answer that, really. I mean, I guess because he was born that way?
Are robots born though, or are they built?
Well, let's just say they are created.
Manufactured. Do you think he could ever be real?
We should ask him.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Darrin, it's Bajo and Hex here from the Ask Spawn Point desk. Hey, could you ever become human, and how were you made?
Yeah, and why are you a robot?
Yeah, why are you robot?
Well, it's a fundamentally flawed question, because robots are vastly superior to humans. Why would I ever want to become a human? A better question, Bajo, was when are you going to become a robot?
I don't know. Have to think about that now.
As for my origin story, well, I'm glad you asked. It only takes 1,024 hours to tell. The story began many years ago, far away in the land of...
I didn't want to hang up on him in the first episode of the year. Let's move on.
Okay, well, we've got one more question to get through, and it's from Neo in Cairns, Queensland. Hi, good game. I am Neo. I am 6. I'm doing jobs to get money for an Xbox. There is 3 games I want. Is Luigi's Mansion 2 a 2-player game? Can I play Minecraft with my mum on an Xbox without Wi-Fi? My mum thinks Hex is cool. Darrin is a noob. Bajo, say this. Well, your mom sounds pretty cool, Neo,
Yeah.
and good on you for working hard to earn some money.
Yeah, well done. As for your questions, yes, Luigi's Mansion 2 has a multiplayer mode for up to 4 players called Scares Scraper. It's a separate multiplayer mode, though, so you can't play through the main story cooperatively, if that's what you were after.
We should point out that Luigi's Mansion 2 is only on the 3DS, not on Xbox. But yes, you can play Minecraft on Xbox with your mum without Wi-Fi.
Yes, you will need to be playing on a high-definition TV, though. For some reason, the game doesn't support split screen in older standard def televisions. But as long as you're on a HD screen, just get it to turn on a controller and press start, and she can jump right into the game with you.
On that note, I think we're out of time for this week. But of course, we'll be here all year answering your questions, so send them in here.
Shall we go back?
Yeah.
All right.
Is Darrin still talking on the phone about his origin?
Hurry up, you two! It's time to reveal Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, a new puzzle game from Nintendo.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is actually the first time the plucky little captain has had his own entire game. He has had a couple of cameos in earlier Mario games, but most of you probably know him best from Super Mario 3D World, where he had a few special puzzle stages. And it was these levels that provided the inspiration for this game.
We should point out that it's important not to confuse Captain Toad with the regular Toad characters.
Captain Toad is a slow and steady character who can't even jump because of his heavy backpack.
At first, you guys, I was worried whether Captain Toad's simplistic controls would actually work well for an entire game. But they've designed the levels so cleverly that his slow speed never bothered me. The levels are less about quick reflexes and more about figuring out how to navigate them.
Affirmative. As you'd expect from the game's title, the thing Captain Toad likes most is treasure. Gold coins are scattered quite generously around the levels, but the real prize are the 3 diamonds, which are much harder to get.
Yeah, the game trolls you a little bit with those diamonds, doesn't it? Many are sitting right out in plain view, but then figuring out how to actually get there can be a real challenge. Often it's about rotating the view so that you can find a path that was hidden.
I found working backwards from where I needed to be worked quite well. So the diamond's on that platform? Alright, I need to drop down from above to get it. Skills.
Mad skills. The game also makes extensive use of the Wii U gamepad's touchscreen and gyroscope.
Yes, and at first I didn't like having to look at the touchscreen and the TV back and forth, but they've actually combined it quite well with the puzzles. Some platforms can be rotated with your finger, while others shift when you touch them, opening up new paths. I liked those ideas, but I did feel a bit silly blowing into the mic for the fan-powered bits.
Now, the gamepad has been a bit neglected lately, so it was nice to be reminded of just how many features it has. I'd almost forgotten that it can detect motion. And they use motion well here to let you aim around in mini shooting sequences. It was accurate even when I was spinning around. I can still get it.
As well as the normal puzzle levels, there are also some bosses to fight. Because of Captain Toad's limited maneuverability, the encounters are mostly obstacle courses with the added danger of a boss attacking you.
The boss levels look fantastic, but I was a little worried after I beat the second boss. Now, this is a bit of a spoiler.
Spoiler alarm! Spoiler alarm!
No, Darren, it's not that big a spoiler. We don't need the alarm.
Turn it off! Turn it off.
Thank you. So, what happens? You beat the second boss, and then the credits roll. I was pretty shocked because I'd only been playing for a couple of hours. But then you find out that episode 2 opens up right after this. So it's not really the end.
Yeah, it's an odd move putting the credits there because I could see a lot of people just turning it off and being disappointed, not realizing that there's a whole second half of the game to go.
Technically, those credits aren't even the halfway point. There are significantly more levels in the game's second half. And then there are the bonus levels.
Yes, if the game detects you have a Mario 3D World save file on your console, then you get access to a handful of levels from that game that have been reworked for Captain Toad. That's a pretty cool trick.
But if you didn't have that save file, you'd have no way of knowing you were missing these levels.
It's almost as if the game goes out of its way to hide how much content it actually has. Episode 2 was a pleasant surprise, though. For this section, Toadette takes over as a heroine battling to save Captain Toad.
Affirmative. And the second episode is significantly more challenging too. The levels are generally larger and involve more complex strategies like flipping entire stages around or breaking open hidden sections. Some puzzles even took my CPU an entire 0.0000000000001 seconds to complete.
Right, well, I think they got the balance just right. I found that I'd have to tinker with the levels for a couple of minutes, moving things around until I figured it out. But the best part is, I never got frustrated or had to go look at a guide, and that made me happy.
Yeah, I had a really great time with this as well. These days it's rare to see Nintendo actually making a new franchise, but I can totally see this going on to become another classic series. I'm giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Yeah, this is excellent. I'm giving it 4 stars out of 5 as well. Well, that's all the time we have for our first ep back for the year, but what a huge effort was, Hex.
Yeah, and I think this new score system of stars is going to work out really well. Great suggestion, Darren.
Always happy to help.
Next week on the show, a new game from Mojang, the developers of Minecraft. It's a collectible card strategy game called Scrolls. Until next time, Bajo out.
Hex out.
Darrin out.